Hello. How do we communicate? I know, you're thinking, obviously, through words, but we communicate through so much more. Think about it. If I looked away the entire time while filming this video, would it make you uncomfortable? Or say you go up and you offer somebody a handshake, but they don't take it. Would that make you feel accepted or unaccepted? Of course, unaccepted. When you think about it, we don't only communicate with our words, we communicate with so much more. Just like I was saying, we communicate through our eyes, through a handshake. All of this is called nonverbal communication. As humans, we are constantly sending messages to each other through things other than just using words. In this video, we're going to be talking about the use of haptics and how we communicate with that. The study of haptics is the study of communication through touch. Let's begin. When you think about it, we've always learned about the five senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. Sight, hearing, smell, and taste are located in specific parts of the body and how we communicate with them. But our sense of touch is all over the body, and we can communicate through all types of the body. The dermis of their skin is filled with these tiny nerve endings that send information to the brain about things with which our skin comes into contact with. Some of our body is more sensitive and some is least sensitive. The least sensitive part of your body is the middle part of your back. This part, you're not really going to get too much communication out of it. But if you think about it, our most sensitive parts of the body are our hands, lips, face, neck, tongue, and fingertips. We use these on a daily basis, don't we? And that's where we feel our most sensitive nerve endings. And this is where we're constantly getting messages. Our emotions can also be expressed through touch. Like I said earlier, through eye contact or offering a handshake, we express our liking towards somebody, our acceptance of somebody, or when we withhold our touch, we express maybe distrust, anger, or avoidance. When we first think about touch, what do we think of? Our relationships with somebody. Touch is very vital and it expresses the first aspect of life. Think about a newborn baby. They aren't able to communicate through words. They communicate through expressing with their parents, with a relative, with a friend, through touch, a caressing and expressive touch. In World War II, they noticed in an orphanage around Europe that the death rates were extremely high in the first year of an infant's life. They were very concerned because the infants were being fed and taken care of. They were being touched, but they weren't using an expressive touch because there wasn't enough staff members to go around. When they started to hire women to just rock, hold, and care for the babies, the death rates declined extremely because touch is so vital to our lives. As we grow older, sadly, our touch through communication declines rapidly. When you think about it as an adult, do you express touch in your everyday life? Not usually. We have so many governed rules about touch nowadays in society because we are a society that doesn't exactly like touch. We aren't really certain about somebody who's really touchy or throws out that hug instead of a handshake when we first meet them. Let's think about the different types of touch. The first type of touch is a professional touch. These types of touch are on an impersonal level. They might be an extremely intimate touch, but because of who is doing it, we don't exactly care or express a concern when these people are touching us. They can be prodding and jabbing at us, or doing something extremely inappropriate, like sticking their whole hand in our mouth, but we still don't care because this is a professional touch. You see these through physicians, dentists, a hairstylist, or especially think of a massage therapist. These types of touch are an impersonal, business-like touch that are used to accomplish or perform a service. The next type of touch is a social or a polite touch. This is more of an interpersonal involvement, and it serves to communicate with our body to acknowledge the other person in a social role, such as a greeting. Across different cultures, there's many types of greetings. Basically, in our culture, we use a handshake, or maybe a simple touch as patting somebody on the shoulder or the back. Here are some examples of social polite touch.
For me?
Give the air a handshake.
Give me a big handshake.
If you had an imaginary friend in front of you, give him a handshake.
Yeah.
Yes, we do.
Our next type of touch is friendship touch. This lets another person know that we care for them, we value for them, and we have an interest in him or her. This type of touch is also at an interpersonal level, but it sees that the interactants are touching more than a social or professional reason. These type of touches are often confused within our society because, like I said earlier, our touch is governed by rules. But we usually see more of a caressing, loving type of touch in a friendship relationship. These can be such as linking arms with each other, or embracing each other in a hug, or maybe playing around with each other and tickling. Here are some examples of friendship warmth touch. Our last type of touch that we're going to talk about is love and intimacy touch. This type of touch involves a relationship between intimate lovers and spouses or loved family members. Touch takes on more important characteristics in this aspect because we aren't only communicating a relationship between each other, but we're communicating something on a very deeper emotional level. These type of touches can be caresses, holding each other, hugging, kissing, embracing, touches that are very filled with deep emotion and actually last longer than any more of your touches. When we think about it, like I said, we don't only have to be intimate with our touches, but we can also just express love. And these touches are usually satisfy a love member, but sometimes we aren't willing to give these. And when we think about that, it might inconvenience us to touch them, but we express our love through them. So we might offer that hug or the kiss when we are still uncomfortable with them, but we care for them, so therefore the touch is expressed as a caring communication. Here are some examples of love and intimacy touch. Sadly, communication just doesn't communicate happy emotions. Like I said before, they can also communicate anger, distrust, and an unlikeness with somebody. Communication can be abusive and controlling through touch. In these next examples, the two actors will be acting out how touch can be abusive and controlling through communication. The last point that I'm going to make is something that we call skin hunger. And this is something where we long for touch. It's a strongly felt need for touch. Just as when we are extremely hungry, we long for that sense of food in our stomachs. It results from an insufficient body contact for psychological and possibly physical well-being. Being deprived of touch can not only lead to psychological problems, but also negative influence to withstand stress or anger within our lives. When we are communicating with each other through touch, we express more than just communication or a greeting. We experience a relationship with the people that we are expressing this through. And it's really important to remember that when you offer a touch, just don't throw it out there and think that it doesn't have a message, because everything that we do sends a message, and it is very important to remember that.
Group hug.
I would like to thank Carly Joseph and Miss Jess for offering their preschool students for helping with this video, as well as Drew Herman and Paige Foraker, two OUC actors, for acting out some of the examples of touch communication. Thank you.